Hey, welcome to today's Twin Flame energy update. So I'm going to be doing a channeled message. Okay, what's really going on for Twin Flames right now? What does Spirit really want you to know? So there's huge transformation and shifts going on for both of the twins, and a lot of it right now is to do with old paradigms, old belief systems that we are taught in this social matrix about what reality is, and all the illusions basically of how we are supposed to live our lives, what is true, what isn't true, the cultural conditioning, conditioning from our families about all sorts of things, about love, relationships, about life, what love is, what our lives should look like, how our lives should be lived and panned out, what success looks like in terms of how your life is unfolding, what you achieve, as opposed to having like a successful spiritual awakening and spiritual journey and healing. So a lot of these shifts are to do with sort of being caught between the 3D and the 5D and beyond. So caught in two dimensions and how to really shift. There's a lot of questioning about what is real for me, what feels to be the truth beyond all of these illusions, because this connection's really stirred up a lot of illusions. It's really broken through a lot of illusions, and there is quite an immense level of stuff that isn't real. It's just conditioning and like collective belief systems that we don't even think to question. We don't even realize that they're illusions for such a long time. But during this shift, there's a lot of stuff that's shifting out, and the ego can feel very triggered by this. The ego can feel fearful. There's a sense within the twin flames of feeling kind of ungrounded, like what is real, what makes sense, what doesn't make sense. Sometimes there can be right now some intense confusion coming up as the false self, the false paradigms are shifting out. The ego's not too happy about that at times. It's like the ego's sort of flaring up, creating triggers and feeling like life should be this way, that way, and the other way. And there's a lot of like self-judgment in that. There's a lot of I'm doing things wrong, there's something wrong with me, or there can be like resentments as well if you're feeling kind of alone in this transition. You're feeling like no one understands you. You're going through this immense shift into consciousness, into the infinite, into truth, and you're feeling as though everyone around you cannot see that, or but in the twin flame connection there is this profound understanding. Okay, like you are walking hand in hand down this path of awakening. Okay, you may be on slightly different degrees of awakening, but nonetheless there's this on the deep soul level, there's this profound understanding. You feel this sense of affinity, that you're not alone on this healing journey, because on this path it's all about releasing, trying to understand everything, releasing the ego's way of trying to make everything known and understood. Like the ego holds on to a future, like the ego says my future, my life is supposed to unfold like this, it's supposed to look like this, and there's like this false sense of security in holding on to that. And often it is very much shaped by cultural expectations. So there could be some flaring up on the ego level if you're feeling sort of like, because there's like periods of time within these divine unions where you can feel somewhat sort of disconnected from the person, where you feel as though, oh, they don't understand me, and that can really like trigger you. But deep down there is this level, this high level of understanding on that soul level, okay? So for many of you, in the times where the despairing ego is coming up and you're feeling alone, and it's like the ego, like it's a lot of this is to do with mourning the loss of itself, which is the full self. Mourn the ego's can be feeling fearful, lost, frightened of the release of itself, to make way for the soul to shine through even more, the truth to come through even more. So the ego will be flaring up. It's like those illusions of separation. If you're feeling as though your twin flame doesn't understand you, or you feel like you're on differing kind of levels of understanding at times, and the ego is going to create that pain. You're going to feel like lonely. You're going to feel like, oh, I am alone. But that's just layers of the illusion of separation coming through you to be released. So during this time, you're going to feel, many of you are going to feel your person's higher self with you even more, okay? So I'm just going to talk about my own experience with this. So recently I have been shifting like extremely immensely. Most twin flames are shifting immensely right now, ever since everything that was going on in the world with the pandemic. I feel like that's what kicked off this mass like awakening. So a lot of shifting. So for me recently, what I experience is I see all this density. It's like my full self, it's the illusions, it's the subconscious thick walls of energy, the ego basically surrounding me, that was like my protective shield subconsciously. So that used to be such a thick wall of, it looks like shadow, or it looks like a cloud, but it's denser than a cloud, okay? It feels denser than that. That was surrounding me like a thick wall, like the Tower card in the tarot, the thick walls around me. But now I feel like a lot of that has sort of crumbled, okay? So around like my higher chakras, it's like this energy swirling around me, and I would say it's like reaches out about 20 meters all around me, this density, this dense layer. But now, because I see myself sort of standing there, I'm standing in the middle of this whirlwind. It's like a whirlwind, like going around me. But now in the upper chakras where I'm standing, my torso upwards, it's like a lot of that, what used to be a solid wall, it's now just like, it looks like meteors. It looks like, or asteroids, or just these rocks that are all broken up, but they're like swirling around me. I can see beyond the density, but there's still these pockets of density around me. But if I look down at my lower chakras, around my legs and my feet, and that it's more dense. Okay, to me that's really representing the deeper levels of subconscious blocks and illusions and wounds, false self that still will in time come up and break down and start crumbling more. But for many of you, this is what's going on subconsciously for twin flames. There's a shift. The thick layers of illusion are breaking down, and so there's like these asteroids or these they're just these rocks, but I can see through them. Okay, now I can see the infinite beyond those. So it's like I'm in the high realms, I'm floating in light. It's like pure white light. It's truth. And how I will see it, and because this density is sort of broken away, I can see it more clearly now. There's like this platform. There's this long platform that's stretching out from the infinite. So I can't see where it ends because it's limitless. There's no ending. But there's this platform that's like stretching around on the right hand side. And it stops just in front of me. So a few meters away, so to speak, talking about it in terms of human length. But on that platform, there's this constant, it's where my twin flames higher self, my person's like higher self, is constantly standing on that platform. And this is really the reason I'm saying this message, is because your person's higher self, and it's not just their higher self, it's the whole soul family. Like are always with you. Okay, so how I feel it, how I experience it is, I don't see the soul family when in these times. This often happens. It's like my person's higher self comes through into my awareness when all this sort of turbulence in the ego is like a whirlwind around me. It's like that's all this movement, the movement of the mind, the triggering, feeling all over the place of the mind. Beyond that, now, because a lot's broken down, I can see beyond that, and what I see is my person's higher self standing on this sort of platform, so to speak. It's made out of light, but that is the stillness. Everything beyond this swirling rocks of illusion and ego is stillness. It's light. It's this pure white light. It's love. It's the infinite realms. It's truth. And yeah, I always experience a lot more recently. I can really see and understand my twin flames higher self is standing there, always standing really still. There's like this solid presence where he's like looking at me, and it's like he's saying, I'm always here. And it is the stillness, it's the truth, it's that love. It's like your person's higher self is always with you. They are that stillness. They are that love, that unshakable love. And this is the divine support coming through from your person's higher self. And it feels amazing when you can really tap into that stillness and really feel that, really know that, really experience that. And you will be the same for your person, like your higher self is always with your person. And the message here is about, no matter what stories the mind is creating about your connection, that's creating any suffering, any wounds, and any sort of stories about life in general, and this awakening to the true reality in general, your person's higher self is coming through and really saying, I'm here for you. I'm supporting you. I'm here to help you remember the truth. I am the light. that is helping break down this illusion. And those moments are incredibly profound, because it really takes you out of those illusions. It takes you out of that suffering. And even if you can't understand what's going on, because a lot is happening to be integrated, and you know that there's some sort of storm going on within you, it's like you can, in those moments, be in the stillness and and just see the storm like swirling around you. You don't have to be caught up in it and be sort of thrown around and feeling all over the place. You can see beyond it, and you see that it's only these illusions that are in between you and your person. There is no separation in truth. It's just some pockets or walls of density. It's just patterns in the mind swirling around. That's like a cloud between you and your person, but it's not the ultimate truth. And then in those moments, you come back into the truth. You come back into the stillness. You really feel the presence. You know, it's so weird. It's in a really good way though. It's eerie. It's like, it feels surreal, but what's so eerie is that you know that it is real. It is the real truth. And that is an extremely moving experience. Coming back into consciousness, the oneness. It's really, really profound and deeply healing. So look to that oneness. Look to that stillness of the infinite beyond this whirlwind of triggers that will come up many times over in these connections, many times over on the path of awakening. Look to the stillness beyond, and it really helps you to become the observer of this whirlwind of thoughts, rather than being swept up in it and going round and round and round, feeling all over the place. Come back to the stillness. Your person's higher self is really trying to communicate, really trying to show you that they are always there for you, as is the soul family, as is the universe. The truth is that stillness beyond everything, that never-ending light, that never-ending love. So I hope this channeling has been helpful and brought you peace and inspired you to look deeper when you're feeling triggered. Look into sinking into that truth. So thank you so much. Have an amazing day. Take care. Bye.